Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to speak about the subject of what is a utopia. Well, the definition of a utopia would be basically a sort of civilization that is perfect, where everything is flawless. But there's one thing that is basically impossible in a utopia, is the fact that what is perfection? What is perfect for someone might not be perfect for somebody else. And you can definitely see it just from the simple matter as what we consider as beautiful. Throughout the centuries, there's been different ways of us portraying and looking at beauty. And what once was beautiful might not be as beautiful as before. Nowadays, for example, because of all these modeling magazines and stuff like that, we look at women, and usually a beautiful woman is a stick woman. We'll say like a woman that is very skinny. But then if you look at older paintings and stuff like that, you're going to see that it's more has to do with not being obese, obviously, but it's more about being a little bit more voluptuous, because that actually shows the fact that you're able to bear children better, wider hips and stuff like that. Same with males. Nowadays, it's this whole obsession about having abs, which means that you have to get to probably fat percentage of 4-6% or something like that in order to really see definition. And the thing is that's funny is that we actually all have abs. It's just that if you can actually get the percentage of fat down, then it just shows more definition, and some people are also more genetically predisposed to show that too. And in the old days, it would be more about the calves. So if people had very nice and muscular calves, then the male would be considered beautiful, but it didn't really look too much at the stomach. And that's the funny part, and that's why they had these kind of like half pants that had really high socks and that would highlight the calf. And that's what I think is kind of interesting when we think about utopia, because utopia, again, by definition, would mean perfection. A perfect, idyllic society that is thriving and that is able to do all the things that it needs to do, and where there's no wars and all these things. But it's not because one person, again, sees something as perfect that it works for someone else. The thing is that maybe the fact of getting a universal income could be perfect for one person, because, well, having that universal income would mean that no matter what, they would be provided with enough money to actually have food and maybe a shelter over their head. Yet maybe because of that, there's just going to be less people in the workforce, and then the people who actually want to really, really, really work hard, well, then they're not going to be able to, because they're not going to be able to get the amount of workforce that they need in order to make the companies that they want or the projects that they want. Might not be a reality, I don't know. But I'm just trying to figure out an example that would kind of show you guys how one thing might be perfect for one person, but it might not be perfect for the other. And that's where we get all these problems, like where people are saying, oh, we're more Republican, we're more Democrat. The reality is that everybody's a little bit of everything. It's just that you choose a party that's maybe more in line with what you have. Poor people tend to be more Democratic. Richer people tend to be more Republican, just because there's more interest in the real estate and in the stock market and all these things for Republicans, and usually it's older money and stuff like that. But then if you look at it from another perspective, from the Democratic perspective, then maybe that is better for them to have free healthcare and all these things. So that's where a lot of problems can actually arise, because maybe something that actually worked for one person might not actually work for the other. And that's where we kind of tend to come at a loss sometimes, because the fact that we're always looking for this utopia would mean that we actually would need to be living in less of society that has so many people, will say. It's like communism and all these things. If you look at these things on paper, they look great. They look amazing. Everybody has a house. Everybody has enough to live. But then again, we're not always going to be rich. And at the same time, what happens is that some people are greedy and that we are sneaky and stuff like that. And we might actually do something silly to actually be more wealthy than the other person, and then other people will see other people that are even more wealthy, and then they get jealous and then they start doing bad things too. So for a utopia to really exist, we'd almost have to be less vain, we'd have to be more giving, we'd have to take away jealousy, we'd have to take away the fact that we're always kind of sneaky in some way because of that animal instinct where we want that survival, and maybe just more gentleness. But unless we can actually change our actual core as humans, utopia will never exist. We'd have to get to a higher plane to really see that. Well, that's it. That's all I have to say on the subject. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.